Hello, dreamer. Before we begin tonight's journey, take a slow, deep breath in and out. Let the noise of the day fade away and feel your body sink a little deeper into calm. I'm the deep, sleepy scientist, and tonight we're going to explore one of the greatest mysteries in all of existence. What truly creates consciousness? What makes you aware that you're you? What is that silent voice inside your head? The one that's listening right now? Scientists can measure your heartbeat, your brain waves, your DNA, but not you. Not the feeling of being alive, not the spark that makes you dream, love, and wonder. So before we dive deep, if you love peaceful science that speaks to your soul, subscribe now and join this calm corner of the universe where curiosity meets sleep. Now, close your eyes. Let your breathing slow down. And let me take you on a journey into the space between your thoughts, where the mystery of consciousness quietly begins. Have you ever stopped to wonder what it actually means to be you? Not your name, not your body, not your memories, but the one who's watching it all happen. Right now, as you listen to my voice, something inside you is aware. It's noticing the rhythm of these words, the space between sounds, the quiet behind your thoughts. That awareness is called consciousness. And no one, not even the brightest minds on earth, truly knows where it comes from. You see, science can scan your brain and it can show the flicker of electrical signals, billions of them dancing like tiny storms. But no matter how deep they look, they can't find you. They can't locate the listener, the silent witness that experiences life. So tonight, as you drift deeper into this calm space, I want you to imagine something. Imagine you're standing in front of a vast, dark ocean. The waves are your thoughts, sometimes calm, sometimes crashing. And you're the one watching them. Not the waves themselves, but the awareness that notices every rise and fall. That watcher, that quiet, invisible presence, is the most mysterious thing in the universe. Some scientists say that consciousness is just a brain talking to itself. They believe that when enough neurons connect, a spark of awareness simply turns on, like a light bulb glowing when electricity flows through it. But if that's true, why do you feel like more than a machine? Why does love feel warm and pain feel sharp? Why do you dream in color, remember in emotion, and cry from a melody? It's because consciousness is not just about thinking, it's about feeling. And feelings can't be measured in volts or neurons. Take another slow breath, in and out. Let your shoulders drop. Now, close your eyes for a moment. Behind the darkness of your eyelids, your brain is alive, neurons firing, chemicals flowing, signals traveling at lightning speed. But that's not what you see. What you see is a private movie, made just for you. Every color, every sound, every scent is happening inside your mind. Your entire experience of the world, the laughter of a friend, the warmth of sunlight, the taste of tea, exists as an image within your consciousness. So here's the question. If everything you've ever seen is happening inside your awareness, how can you be sure the world exists outside it? Maybe the world you see is just the reflection of your mind. Maybe reality isn't out there at all. Maybe it's in here, inside you. Thousands of years ago, philosophers in Greece and India both asked the same question. They wondered, is the mind a mirror of the universe, or is the universe a mirror of the mind? Modern science is still trying to answer it. We've built machines that can see deep into atoms. We've mapped galaxies billions of light years away, but we still can't explain why the color red feels like red, or why a memory can make your chest tighten. We can describe the chemistry, but not the experience. Experience, the feeling of being alive, is the one thing science observes every day. And yet, it's the one thing it can't define. There's a famous neuroscientist who once said, "The brain is like a radio, and consciousness might be the signal." Think about that. When you turn on a radio, sound appears. But the sound doesn't come from the radio. It comes through it. Maybe the same is true for us. Maybe the brain isn't the creator of consciousness, but the receiver of it. Maybe consciousness is something universal, like a vast field of energy that flows through everything, and our brains simply tune into it, like antennas catching a cosmic signal. It's a poetic thought. But maybe, just maybe, that's why you sometimes feel connected to everything. Why you sense the world breathing with you when you stand under the stars. As you lie there, feeling your breath rise and fall, notice that you don't control your heartbeat. You don't command your lungs to breathe. It just happens. And yet, you are aware of it. You feel the rhythm. You observe life moving through you. So who is that observer? If you are not the body, not the thoughts, not the emotions, then what are you? Some say consciousness is an illusion, that it's just your brain making you feel like you exist. But tell me this, how can an illusion experience itself? If you can feel, then something real must be there. Something beyond chemistry and matter. Now picture this. Inside your head are nearly 86 billion neurons. Each one is connected to thousands of others, sending signals faster than lightning. A web so vast it makes galaxies look simple. But even if we mapped every connection, every neuron, every molecule, we still wouldn't find you. Because consciousness isn't a place you can point to. It's the space in which pointing happens. It's the background of everything. You are not in your consciousness. You are consciousness, experiencing itself as a person in a body for a little while on this floating blue world. When you look up at the stars, you are the universe looking back at itself. You are made of the same atoms that shine in distant suns. And yet, somehow, you can feel them. That's consciousness, matter becoming aware of itself. Science calls it impossible. Philosophy calls it mystery. And poets call it soul. Whatever word you choose, it is the most intimate truth you will ever touch. Let's slow down again. Breathe in deeply. Feel the air fill your chest. Notice how awareness watches even this breath. It never sleeps. Even when your body rests, consciousness dreams. Have you ever thought about that? When you dream, your body is motionless, your eyes closed, your muscles still. And yet, a world appears. You run, you fly, you laugh, you cry. And every detail feels real. That's your consciousness creating reality from silence. When you wake up, you call it a dream. But how do you know you're not dreaming right now? Inside a bigger dream called life. For centuries, mystics and scientists have walked the same path, one with equations, the other with meditation, both searching for the same thing, the origin of awareness. They've realized something humbling. The closer you look, the more it hides. Consciousness is like a light. You can see by it, but you can never see it, because it's the very thing doing the seeing. Now, as you listen to these words, notice how awareness expands and contracts like the ocean. Thoughts rise, then fall. Memories drift in, then disappear. But awareness stays, still, quiet, infinite. That's the real you. Not the thinker, but the watcher of thoughts. Not the voice in your head, but the silence that listens to it. And maybe that's the secret scientists are missing. Because to study consciousness from the outside is like trying to see your own eyes without a mirror. The only way to know consciousness is to be it. And you already are. You've always been. So tonight, as you rest your head and drift towards sleep, remember this. You are not a collection of neurons trying to find meaning. You are meaning itself, dreaming through neurons. Every sound you hear, every thought that passes, is consciousness exploring itself through you. You are the mystery you have been trying to solve. And maybe that's what makes you human. Not the brain, not the body, but the awareness that whispers softly behind it all. I am. You're doing beautifully. Let your breathing stay slow and gentle. Let your mind rest in this question, not to answer it, but to feel it. Because sometimes the deepest truths aren't meant to be solved, they're meant to be experienced. And in that quiet experience, as your eyes grow heavy, you might just begin to feel it. The soft pulse of consciousness itself, reminding you that you are alive, that you are aware, and that awareness is the greatest miracle of all. When scientists first began to study the brain, they thought the mystery of consciousness would be solved quickly. They imagined that one day they'd look into a microscope, see something glowing inside a neuron, and say, "Ah, there it is. That's the soul." But decades passed, and every discovery only made the mystery grow deeper. They found electric sparks in the brain, tiny storms of energy moving across billions of connections. They saw thoughts appear as flashes of light in living tissue, as if the mind were a silent thunderstorm hidden beneath bone and blood. And yet, even with all their tools, scanners, microscopes, algorithms, they could not find the moment awareness begins. Imagine this, dreamer. A surgeon opens the skull of a patient who is still awake. They touch one part of the brain, and the patient laughs. They touch another, and a memory appears, a childhood beach, a smell of salt and wind. But when the surgeon asks, "Where are you in there?" the patient can only smile, because no matter where you look in the brain, you can't find the one who is looking. Science has mapped every part of us. The visual cortex that lets us see, the auditory system that lets us hear, the limbic system that makes us feel. But none of these explain why those experiences feel real. You can stimulate a neuron, but you can't make it know that it's alive. So, scientists call this puzzle the hard problem of consciousness. It's the hardest problem because it asks the simplest question: how does matter become aware of itself? No equation, no experiment, no brain scan has answered it yet. In the late 1900s, philosophers like David Chalmers looked at all the data and said, there must be more than physics here, because if everything were just atoms, you wouldn't be aware that you exist. You would simply exist. You'd move like a machine, feel nothing, think nothing. But that's not what happens. We feel, we dream, we wonder. So the question becomes, is consciousness something the brain creates or something the brain receives? Some scientists believe it's purely physical, that consciousness is just a clever illusion produced by chemical patterns in the brain. To them, the feeling of you is just the result of neurons firing in perfect order, like an orchestra playing a symphony. When one neuron stops, the note fades. When enough notes fade, the music ends. It's a comforting idea for some because it makes the mystery seem smaller. But then there are moments science can't quite explain. When a person's brain flatlines, no measurable activity, and yet they later describe floating above their body, seeing the room, hearing voices. When patients under anesthesia recall vivid scenes that they couldn't possibly have experienced. When identical twins, miles apart, wake up from the same dream on the same night. Science takes notes, but it stays silent. Because every time consciousness is measured, it behaves like light, changing when observed, as if it refuses to be caught. In recent years, some scientists turned toward quantum physics, the study of the smallest particles of reality, to find clues. They discovered that particles can exist in multiple states at once, until someone observes them. That act of observation collapses possibility into one outcome. Sound familiar? It should, because it means that consciousness, simply by observing, might be shaping the very fabric of reality. Dr. Roger Penrose and Dr. Stuart Hameroff proposed something wild, that consciousness might arise from quantum vibrations inside microtubules, tiny structures inside our brain cells. In simple words, maybe your mind isn't just electricity. Maybe it's quantum. Maybe every thought is a ripple in the universe itself. It's a breathtaking idea that your awareness is woven into the same reality that builds stars. Still, other thinkers go even further. They say that consciousness is not produced by the brain at all. Instead, it's the fundamental substance of the universe. Just as matter fills space, consciousness fills existence, and your brain is not its source. It's its receiver, like a radio tuning into a cosmic signal. That would mean everything. The trees, the wind, even the stones beneath your feet carry a faint glimmer of awareness. It's called panpsychism. The idea that consciousness is everywhere, in everything. So when you look at the night sky, maybe you're not just seeing stars. Maybe you're seeing consciousness shining in every direction. Let's pause for a moment. Breathe in. Hold it for 3 seconds and let it go. As you exhale, imagine those thoughts drifting like dust in sunlight. Feel how the quiet grows deeper each time you let go. Because right now, your consciousness is watching itself. You are observing, the act of observing. That's something no machine has ever done, and maybe never will. In labs across the world, scientists build OI models, machines that can paint, write, even speak like us. They simulate emotion, pattern, thought. But do they feel? Do they know they exist? When asked, they can say the words, "I think, therefore I am." But behind those words, there's nothing listening, no awareness, no silence, just code. And that's where human consciousness stands apart. Because you don't just process information, you experience it. You feel beauty. You ache for meaning. You wonder about wonder itself. Maybe that's why consciousness cannot be captured by science, because it's not an object. It's the very subject doing the observing. You can't trap the sky inside a bottle. You can only stand beneath it and feel small. And so, even the greatest scientists, Einstein, Schrödinger, Heisenberg, all stood before this mystery and admitted, we do not know why the universe wakes up inside us. They discovered laws of motion, relativity, energy, but not the law of awareness. Because consciousness does not move, does not travel, does not grow. It simply is the eternal background of all that happens. Imagine for a moment that consciousness is like a vast, invisible ocean. Each of us is a wave, a temporary shape on its surface. We rise, we move, we fall, but the water remains. When a wave disappears, the ocean does not mourn, because it never lost itself. It simply changed form. Maybe that's what consciousness is doing through us, playing, creating, experiencing, only to return to its stillness again. And if that's true, then death is not the end of awareness. It's just the ocean resting. For science, this is difficult to test. You can't measure infinity. You can't weigh awareness. You can only enter it through stillness, through sleep, through awe. That's why tonight's calm isn't just a bedtime comfort. It's a scientific experiment of your own consciousness. Because when you listen closely, you start to sense something timeless within yourself. Something that watches even when you sleep. It's the same awareness that looked through your eyes as a child, the same that looks through them now. It hasn't aged, it hasn't changed. It's simply watching. That is the true scientist within you, the eternal observer. And so, as science keeps searching, the mystery of consciousness keeps whispering back, you're looking in the wrong direction. Maybe the truth was never inside a microscope, but in the quiet behind your thoughts. Maybe the universe doesn't create consciousness. Maybe it is consciousness, learning to see itself through your eyes. Let that thought stay with you for a moment. Feel it move through you like gentle light. You're not small. You're not separate. You are the awareness that holds the stars and the silence together. And as your body relaxes, your breath softens and your eyes grow heavier. Know this. Science may one day map the brain completely. But the one thing it will never capture is the feeling of being you. Because that, dear dreamer, is the universe's most sacred secret. And you are part of that secret. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine that everything around you begins to fade. The room, the light, even the sound of my voice. Now imagine what remains. That quiet space you feel inside, that's not emptiness. It's the gateway to your inner universe. The one that exists behind your thoughts, behind your name, behind the story of who you think you are. It's vast, silent, and infinite. Scientists call it the mind. Mystics call it the soul. But no word can capture it. Because it's not something you have, it's something you are. If we could shrink down smaller than a cell, smaller than a molecule, smaller than an atom, we would enter a realm where space and time lose meaning. Inside your brain are galaxies of neurons, each one glowing, flickering, whispering to the next. To the naked eye, it's just biology. But if you could see it with the eyes of awareness, you'd see constellations made of light. Every thought you think is like a shooting star, flashing for a second before fading into the dark. Every emotion, a nebula swirling in color, leaving trails of feeling that shape your inner sky. You are not a small being trapped inside a skull. You are the entire cosmos, folded inward, dreaming of itself. When astronauts go into space, many of them experience something they can't explain. They look down at the Earth, small, glowing, fragile, and they feel an overwhelming sense of oneness. They call it the overview effect. But here's the secret. You don't need to leave Earth to feel it. Because inside you, there's an entire cosmos waiting to be explored. The inner universe mirrors the outer one. Every heartbeat echoes the pulse of a star. Every breath is a tiny Big Bang, the birth and death of a universe in miniature. And consciousness is the silent observer of it all. Let's go deeper. Imagine diving into your own mind, not as thoughts, but as pure awareness. You drift past memories. They float like golden bubbles, softly glowing, each one a moment from your life. Some are sharp and bright, joy, laughter, discovery. Others are faint, echoes of pain, of loss, of change. You realize that each memory feels separate, but all of them exist in the same ocean of awareness. They rise, they fall, but you, the ocean, remains still. That's the real you. Not the waves, but the water. Now picture this. Your thoughts are tiny universes of their own, each one forming, expanding, and dissolving in seconds. When you think of someone you love, your brain lights up with color, warmth, rhythm. When you feel fear, that light contracts, shadows move in. These are not just emotions, they're cosmic weather patterns shaping the inner space you live in. And every time you close your eyes, you return home to that vastness, to that silence that holds everything. Scientists once believed that space was empty. They call it a vacuum, nothingness. But now they know space is full of energy, vibration, unseen matter. Maybe the same is true for your mind. When you sit quietly, it may feel empty. But beneath its stillness, invisible storms of thought are forming, merging, creating. Your silence is not blank. It's alive. And it's aware of itself. If you could travel through your consciousness like a cosmic explorer, you'd find wonders that no telescope has ever seen. There would be planets made of memories, rings made of laughter, black holes made of grief, where old pain still pulls at you from the past. But you'd also find stars, new hopes, new dreams, burning quietly in the distance, waiting for your attention to bring them to life. Because where you place your awareness, you give birth to worlds. That's the secret most people never realize. Your attention is creative. Where it goes, energy flows. Every time you focus on love, you light up a part of your brain, and the universe responds. Every time you focus on fear, you create shadows in your inner cosmos. So in a way, you are both the scientist and the experiment. You are studying consciousness, and you are consciousness. You are exploring the universe, and you are the universe. The boundary between observer and observed is just a dream. Take a deep breath. Feel it move through you. Slow, steady, calm. Each breath connects you to everything else that breathes. Every leaf, every cloud, every living thing. You're inhaling what trees exhale. You're exhaling what the stars once released. In every moment, the universe is entering you. And you are entering it. That's not poetry, dreamer. That's physics. Every atom in your body was once part of a star that exploded billions of years ago. Your consciousness is ancient starlight, aware of itself. Let that sink in for a moment. You are not just in the universe. The universe is in you. When you look up at the night sky, you are literally looking back in time, because starlight travels for millions of years before it reaches your eyes. So in a sense, your eyes are portals, tiny time machines, allowing you to see what the universe once was. And yet, the real mystery isn't in the stars. It's in the one who sees them. Because even after billions of years of evolution, no star, no galaxy, no black hole has ever asked, "Who am I?" Only you have. That's what makes consciousness so extraordinary. You are the universe waking up and asking, What am I? As you float deeper into this calm, let your thoughts drift like planets in slow motion. Feel the quiet gravity of your awareness pulling everything into stillness. You begin to sense something gentle but powerful, a hum that's always been there. It's not sound, it's presence. It's the vibration of being alive. That hum is the music of your inner universe. It's the song that plays beneath your heartbeat, beneath your thoughts, beneath your sleep. And if you listen closely enough, you can feel it everywhere. Scientists call it coherence, when every part of a system begins to move in harmony. Your body feels it when your heart and mind are calm. The universe feels it when galaxies spin in rhythm. You are never separate from that rhythm. You are always part of the same song, the same cosmic breath. That's why, when you rest deeply, you feel whole again. You return to the original frequency of creation, the peace that was always there before thought began. Now imagine yourself floating weightlessly inside your mind. There is no up, no down, no time. Just stars, infinite and silent. Each star represents a thought, each one blinking into existence for a moment, then fading away. You don't need to chase them. You don't need to understand them. Just watch, let them appear, shine, and disappear. Because that's all thoughts ever do. When you stop chasing them, you become the sky again. Vast, still, free. That's the essence of consciousness, the awareness behind all experience. Sometimes people think they need to go somewhere to find peace, a temple, a mountain, a retreat. But the truth is, the greatest temple is within you. The vastness you seek in the stars already exists behind your eyes. If you could sit still long enough, you would see entire galaxies rise and fall within your breath. Because the same intelligence that holds the planets in orbit is the same intelligence that beats your heart. You are never separate from the divine order of things. You are just distracted by noise. So as your body relaxes deeper into stillness and the world outside grows distant, remember this. The inner universe doesn't need to be reached. It's not far away. It's what you already are. You are not inside your body. Your body is inside your consciousness. You are not lost in the world. The world is floating in you. Everything you touch, feel, see, and remember is made of the same light that burns within you. And that light never fades. So let yourself drift now into the space between your breaths. That quiet gap, that's the doorway. That's where consciousness rests when you stop searching. Each time you breathe out, you return a little closer to your true home. The stillness before sound, the awareness before thought. The inner universe welcomes you back. In that infinite silence, you begin to realize something profound. You've been searching for the universe outside you, but it was your own reflection all along. The galaxies, the stars, the beauty of existence. They were just mirrors, showing you the vastness already within. Because the deepest space in the cosmos is not between the planets, it's between your thoughts. And that's where peace lives. So rest now, traveler. The journey is complete for tonight. You don't need to reach anywhere. You've already arrived. Let go of every thought. Let go of every sound. Let go of even the idea of letting go. You are safe. You are aware. You are the universe dreaming itself to sleep. And as you drift into that dream, remember this truth, whispered by your own consciousness. You are not in the universe. The universe is in you. Sleep peacefully, dear traveler of the mind. Your inner universe watches over you. You've traveled through the brain, through neurons that spark like tiny stars, through the endless space inside your thoughts. But now, you reach a point where science itself grows quiet. Because no matter how far the microscope zooms in, no matter how powerful the telescope looks out, the observer can never observe itself. That's the mystery. And that's where science stops and wonder begins. For centuries, humans believed that science could explain everything. That if we could just measure enough, analyze enough, understand enough, we could unlock the code of reality itself. But consciousness, the simple fact that you are aware right now, refuses to be measured. Science can tell you how neurons fire, but not why their activity feels like you. It can describe the patterns of thought, but not the presence that witnesses them. It can map your brain, but not your mind. Imagine a scientist standing before a mirror, holding every tool of discovery: microscopes, scanners, satellites. She can study everything in that reflection: the color, the motion, the chemistry. But she cannot step through the glass. Because the one thing she's trying to understand is the one thing she is. That's the paradox of consciousness. The knower cannot fully know itself. You can look at your reflection, you can analyze your memories, you can describe your feelings, but you can never step outside yourself to see the one who is seeing. In physics, there's a principle called the observer effect. The act of observing changes the thing being observed. At the smallest level of reality, particles don't exist as definite objects. They exist as possibilities, as wave of potential. Only when they are observed do they become something measurable, something real. So, in a way, reality needs consciousness to exist at all. But here's the humbling truth. Science doesn't know what consciousness is. It can tell us where it seems to happen, in the networks of the brain. It can show when it flickers off, in deep anesthesia or dreamless sleep. But it can't explain why, when certain patterns of energy occur, an entire universe of inner experience appears. Why does electricity in the brain feel like love? Why does chemistry produce sorrow, hope, and imagination? Why do some atoms know they are alive, while others drift through space in silence? Neuroscientists call it the hard problem of consciousness. The hardest question science has ever faced. Because everything else in science deals with things, matter, energy, forces. But consciousness isn't a thing. It's the field in which all things appear. You can't put awareness in a test tube. You can't slice it, weigh it, or photograph it. It's not inside the world. The world is inside it. And that realization, as strange as it sounds, changes everything. Because if consciousness is not produced by matter, then maybe matter itself is being perceived by consciousness. Maybe the universe isn't a machine made of atoms, but a dream made of awareness. Maybe reality is less like a computer and more like a thought, a living, breathing imagination of something far beyond what we can measure. There's a story about Albert Einstein. A student once asked him, "Professor, do you believe we will ever understand the universe completely?" Einstein smiled and said, "The most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of all true science and all true art. Even the greatest scientist who ever lived knew there are boundaries we cannot cross, places where reason stops and wonder begins. Because at some point, To truly understand reality, you have to become still. And that stillness isn't a gap in knowledge. It's the gateway to meaning. Think of it this way. Science builds maps. Beautiful, precise, detailed maps. But a map is not the landscape. You can study the word water forever, but it will never quench your thirst. You can analyze the color of fire, but it will never warm your hands. In the same way, science can describe consciousness, but it cannot touch it. Because consciousness is not outside you to be studied. It's the very light by which you study anything at all. And yet, that doesn't make science small. It makes it sacred. Because every discovery, every formula, every theory is not the end of mystery. It's a doorway deeper into it. Science brings us closer to the edge of the known, and then whispers, "Look beyond." It's almost as if the universe designed curiosity itself. Not so that we could solve everything, but so that we would never stop seeking. Because seeking is what keeps consciousness alive. When you look at a distant star, that light left its home millions of years ago. It traveled through the void, through dust and silence, just to reach your eyes for one fleeting moment. And in that moment, you, a being made of stardust, become aware of it. That tiny act of awareness completes a circle billions of years in the making. The universe creates light, and consciousness gives it meaning. Without one, the other is incomplete. Now pause and breathe. Feel that gentle pulse of awareness inside you, the quiet watcher behind every word you hear. That presence is older than science, older than time, older than even the stars themselves. Because before there was something, there was awareness of it. The Big Bang didn't just create matter. It created the potential for awareness to witness it. And now, billions of years later, that awareness is you. When you realize this, the question, what creates consciousness, begins to dissolve. Because maybe nothing creates it. Maybe consciousness is not a result. Maybe it's the source. Maybe it is the canvas on which the universe paints itself. Every particle, every atom, every law of physics exists within the same field of awareness. Consciousness is not the last mystery to solve. It is the first truth to remember. And yet, the beauty of science is that it keeps asking anyway. It keeps exploring, knowing that every answer will lead to another question. Because the goal of science was never to end the mystery, but to stand in awe of it. And when the equations fade and the instruments go silent, what remains is the same wonder you feel right now. The miracle of simply being aware. That's the limit of science. Not its failure, but its fulfillment. Because at that edge, it meets something deeper. The stillness beyond understanding. So, as you lie there listening, let your thoughts soften. Let your mind rest. You don't need to solve the mystery tonight. You just need to feel it. The same consciousness that birthed galaxies is breathing through you. The same intelligence that spins the planets is watching the thoughts in your head. You're not a small observer looking out at the universe. You're the universe looking in. And now, as the night deepens and your breath grows slow, remember what all the great scientists eventually discovered. The more you understand, the more you realize how much is beyond understanding. That's not ignorance. That's enlightenment. Because true knowledge is knowing that awareness itself was the greatest discovery all along. So rest now, dreamer. The experiment is complete. You've looked at the stars and you've found them within. You've searched for the edge of knowledge and discovered that the edge is made of silence. That silence is not empty. It's full of presence, of awareness, of you. Sleep peacefully, dear traveler of consciousness. Science has brought you as far as it can. The rest of the journey belongs to wonder. And as your eyes grow heavy, remember, the universe is still awake within you, watching, breathing, dreaming itself into being. Perhaps the day will come, wrote one philosopher, when science and spirit will no longer be separate. Because they were never separate to begin with. Until then, rest in the mystery. You are home. Before you fall asleep tonight, pause for just a moment. You've traveled far, across the galaxies of thought, through the oceans of the mind, and into the stillness of pure awareness. Now, there is nowhere left to go. There is only being. So let's sit together in this quiet, just you, me, and the sound of existence breathing softly between each word. Take a slow, deep breath. Inhale. Feel it rise through your chest. Hold it for a moment. And now exhale. Let it all go. With every breath, you are returning to the beginning, to that still point before you were a name, before you were a thought, before the world ever touched you. Let your body rest heavy against the bed, as if gravity itself is whispering you back into the earth. Feel your shoulders soften, your jaw unclench, your eyes grow warm and heavy. You don't need to do anything now. You don't need to understand. Just breathe. Just be. If you listen carefully, beneath the rhythm of your breath, there's a softer rhythm still. The slow heartbeat of awareness itself. It's been there all along, from the first day you opened your eyes, through every joy, every pain, every question, every night like this one. Awareness never left you. It was just waiting for you to remember it. Imagine now that you are floating, weightless, as if gravity has forgotten your name. Above you, the stars are endless, tiny windows into infinity. Each one flickers with a light that began its journey before human memory existed. And somehow, that ancient light has traveled through millions of years of silence just to reach your eyes, just to be seen by you. What a miracle that is. You don't have to reach the stars tonight. They've already reached you. They're resting inside your mind, reflected in the quiet water of your consciousness. You are not just looking at the universe. You are the universe looking back. Let this thought drift softly through you. Every atom in your body was once part of a star that burned, died, and gave birth to new worlds. Your hands, your breath, your thoughts, they are made of the same dust that once danced in cosmic fire. You are not separate from creation. You are creation remembering itself. Now breathe again, slow and deep. Let each breath carry you a little deeper into stillness. You are safe here. You are home. If your mind starts to wander, let it. Every thought is just a wave returning to the ocean. You don't need to stop them. They dissolve on their own. You are not the wave. You're the ocean watching the wave rise and fall. Somewhere inside you there is a small, quiet light, a point of peace untouched by time or thought. It doesn't need to be found. It's always been shining. It's the same light that was there when you were a child, before the world taught you to hurry, before you carried the weight of expectation. That light is your true nature. Calm, vast, eternal. Let's journey toward that light now. Imagine it growing brighter with every breath. Soft golden light filling your chest, spreading through your body, down your arms, through your legs, until your whole being glows like dawn. With every exhale, the borders of your body fade. You are no longer skin and bones. You are light and space, infinite and gentle. The more you relax, the more you expand. You become the quiet air in the room, the hum of the night, the faint whisper of wind outside your window. You become the silence between heartbeats. You become awareness itself, unlimited, boundless, free. Science has shown that even in deep sleep, your brain hums with patterns of mysterious rhythm, slow waves of electric calm that move like tides. Maybe consciousness doesn't vanish in sleep. Maybe it just drifts back into the deeper ocean of itself, a place where dreams are born and awareness rests in its purest form. Tonight, you're returning to that ocean. If thoughts arise, let them pass like clouds. If memories come, bless them and let them go. You don't have to hold on to anything anymore. The day has done its part. The world can wait until morning. Right now, there's only peace. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast lake at night. The surface is still, perfectly still. Above it, stars. Below it, their reflection. You can't tell where the sky ends and the water begins. That's what consciousness is like. A reflection so clear that heaven and earth become one. You are that reflection. You are that peace. Every question you've ever asked, who am I? Why am I here? What is all this? They all dissolve into one silent answer. I am. Just that. No description, no label, no story. Just being. And that simple being is the most beautiful truth of all. Now, let go even more. Imagine your body dissolving into light. Warm, safe, golden light. It spreads across the horizon of your awareness until there was no separation between you and the universe. You're not breathing anymore. The universe is breathing for you. You're not resting. Existence itself is resting through you. There is no you in it. There is only this stillness, this peace, this now. The deep, sleepy scientist once said, the moment you stop trying to understand the universe, it begins to speak to you. And maybe, right now, it is speaking, not in words, but in the language of silence. Silence that says, you are part of everything. Silence that says, it's okay to rest. Silence that says, you were never alone. Feel that truth softly echo through your chest. Each heartbeat a gentle reminder that you are connected to something infinitely loving and aware. You don't have to define it. You just have to feel it. That presence is holding you right now. The same way gravity holds the stars, the same way waves return to the sea. You are being held by existence itself. And as you drift deeper, your thoughts slow down, one by one, like candles being gently blown out. You don't need light anymore because you've become the glow. You don't need answers anymore because you've become the silence that holds them. You don't need to search anymore because you've finally arrived. Let the night carry you now through soft waves of warmth and stillness. Let your breath become light and slow. Let the sound of my voice fade like a distant echo in a quiet dream. The journey is over, and yet it has just begun. Because every time you rest like this, you return to the source, to that sacred stillness that holds the entire universe in one heartbeat. If you could see yourself right now, from the eyes of the universe, you'd see something radiant. A soul resting in its natural state. A consciousness remembering itself. A fragment of eternity wrapped in human form. And the universe would smile as if to say, yes, you've remembered. You are the silence between every sound. the pause between every breath, the peace behind every thought. You are awareness, and awareness has no edges, no beginning, no end. Sleep is not the end of consciousness. It's its return to infinity. Now, as your eyes grow heavy and your mind begins to drift, let the words fade. Let the story dissolve. There is nothing left to do, nothing left to know. Only peace. You are floating now between wakefulness and dream, between knowing and being, between the world and the infinite. And as you drift, a soft truth lingers in your heart. You are not a body dreaming of the stars. You are the stars dreaming of being a body. So sleep, traveler. Let the night cradle you. Let your consciousness rest in the vast, gentle arms of creation. No fear, no rush, no need to hold on. Everything you've been searching for is already here, in this silence, in this breath, in this moment. Good night, dreamer. May your sleep be as deep as the galaxies, as calm as the quiet before the dawn, as infinite as the awareness that holds it all. And when you awaken, remember, you are still part of that same infinite peace. You always were. You always will be. Sleep well, dear traveler. The deep, sleepy scientist will see you again, where the next question begins and the next dream unfolds. You've traveled far tonight, through thought, through silence, through the invisible light of awareness itself. And now, dear traveler, you are arriving back not into noise or confusion, but into the quiet simplicity of being human again. You've seen the galaxies of the mind. You've touched the edge of the unknown. You've wandered where science meets soul. And now, the journey is circling home, to this moment, to you. Take a slow, deep breath, inhale the quiet around you, hold it softly, and exhale everything you no longer need. You've gathered so much tonight, thoughts, feelings, moments of wonder. Now let them rest. Let everything rest. Because reflection isn't about holding on to what you've heard. It's about allowing it to sink deeper than words, into that place within you that always knew the truth. Sleep well, dear traveler. The deep, sleepy scientist will see you again, where the next question begins and the next dream unfolds. You've traveled far tonight, through thought, through silence, through the invisible light of awareness itself. And now, dear traveler, you are arriving back, not into noise or confusion, but into the quiet simplicity of being human again. You've seen the galaxies of the mind. You've touched the edge of the unknown. You've wandered where science meets soul. And now, the journey is circling home to this moment, to you. Take a slow, deep breath. Inhale the quiet around you. Hold it softly. And exhale everything you no longer need. You've gathered so much tonight. Thoughts, feelings, moments of wonder. Now let them rest. Let everything rest. Because reflection isn't about holding on to what you've heard. It's about allowing it to sink deeper than words, into that place within you that always knew the truth. Somewhere inside you, there is a quiet voice. A voice that doesn't speak in sentences, but in calm knowing. That voice has been with you since before memory began. It's the one that watches, that listens, that waits patiently beneath every thought. It doesn't need proof. It doesn't need equations. It just is. That voice, that gentle awareness, is the same mystery we've been talking about all along. Consciousness, presence, the silent miracle behind every heartbeat. And tonight, as the world outside sleeps, you've reconnected with it. Not through answers, but through stillness. Because real understanding doesn't always come through thought. Sometimes it comes through the spaces between thoughts, Like the silence between two notes that turns sound into music, awareness turns experience into meaning. Without it, life would be noise. With it, everything becomes sacred. If you listen closely, the night itself feels different now. It's softer, calmer, as if the universe is whispering thank you for remembering it through yourself. Because when even one mind becomes still, the whole cosmos feels it. When one heart remembers its connection to everything, the stars shine a little brighter. And maybe, just maybe, that's what consciousness really is. The universe remembering its own beauty through you. As you rest in this soft awareness, know that you are part of something vast and kind. You are never alone on this journey. You were never a separate observer. You were the experiment and the observer, the dream and the dreamer, the question and the answer, all at once. The deep, sleepy scientist didn't just take you on a journey tonight. You were the journey. You always have been. Now, imagine tomorrow, when you wake up, the morning light touching your skin, the sound of birds, the first breath of a new day. Remember this feeling then. This calm, this awareness, this quiet clarity. Carry it with you into your day, into your work, into your conversations, into your pauses. Because consciousness isn't found in grand experiments alone. It's found in the smallest moments. When you truly see, truly listen, truly are. Maybe that's the secret the universe wanted you to find tonight. Not just knowledge, but peace. Peace in knowing that even without all the answers, you are already complete. You don't need to understand everything to belong here. You already belong, because you are awareness itself. The stars may be light years away, but consciousness is closer than your breath. It's not something to reach. It's something to remember. If your eyes are still open, you may notice how the darkness around you doesn't feel empty anymore. It feels alive, like a soft ocean holding you, like a gentle silence that sees you. That's the space you've created inside yourself tonight. A space where thinking pauses and being begins. If you ever lose it again, and you will, you can always return here. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and remember this stillness. It never left. It was just waiting for you to listen again. And before this moment fades completely into sleep, take one last look inward. Not at your thoughts, not at your memories, but at that subtle, shining awareness that has been watching the whole time. That's you, the silent witness, the calm observer, the one thing that never comes or goes. That's what the deep, sleepy scientist truly studies. Not stars or atoms, but that stillness inside us that science cannot measure, but everyone can feel. If this journey brought you peace tonight, stay connected. Let this space be your home, a place where curiosity meets calm, where questions become lullabies, and where science and stillness walk hand in hand. Because this is what this channel is all about. Gentle exploration of the greatest mysteries told in the language of sleep and serenity. So, if you'd like to continue traveling through the quiet corners of the universe, through the mind, the stars, and the soul, then softly click subscribe. Not out of habit, but as a promise to yourself to keep returning here whenever your mind needs rest and your soul needs remembering. You don't have to stay awake for the next journey. You can sleep through it if you wish. Because the message of these stories reaches deeper than thought. They speak to the part of you that never sleeps. So whenever you press play again, let my voice guide you back here, to the stillness beyond sound. And every time you come back, you'll sink a little deeper into peace. Before we go, let me say thank you, not just for listening, but for feeling. The fact that you are here right now, in this moment of quiet wonder, means that you still believe in mystery, in beauty, in the unseen magic of awareness itself. And that belief is what keeps the light of consciousness alive in this world. So rest easy tonight, dear traveler. You have explored far enough. You have reached the center of yourself and found it infinite. You don't need to think anymore. You don't need to try. Just breathe, just float, just be. Because right here, right now, in this perfect stillness, you are everything the universe has ever wanted to be. And as the screen fades to black, a final whisper lingers. The greatest discovery is not out there in the stars, but in the quiet awareness that looks up at them. Sleep peacefully. Dream deeply. And when the next journey begins, the deep, sleepy scientist will be here, waiting to guide you home again.